People who work at 5-star hotels. What type of shit goes on that management doesn't want people to know? Story 1. A friend of mine works for a small luxurious hotel in London. He told me the concierge system there is absolutely absurd. Money buys everything. Anything the clients want, clients get. They are told never to say no, worst case they say, "I don't think this is really appropriate." Obviously drugs and escorts are a classic. He showed me 20 phone numbers of drug dealers in his phone to be able to get whatever drugs to the customers. He never buys though, only gets people in contact. And for harder tasks, he goes through professional concierges who charge a lot. You want a new Prada dress at 2 a.m. for the party you are about to attend? Sure thing, let's wake a few people up, charge triple the price, and split the benefit between people involved. Have a good night, madam. You want tickets for the Wimbledon final that takes place tomorrow? You have £20,000? Enjoy the game, sir. But in some cases, they can't satisfy the customer. So when a couple of clients came back drunk asking him to have sex with the wife, while the husband was watching and filming, he felt like it was a good time to say, "I don't think this is really appropriate." Story 2. My husband worked at several luxury hotels and residences, rich people who live at the hotels. And besides how absolutely disgusting everything inside the rooms actually is, I was most shocked by the behavior of the ultra-rich. I'm not talking businessmen and doctors. I'm talking Saudi princes and heirs to dynasty families. The level of comfort and technology these people have come to expect is things we cannot imagine. What do you mean there isn't access to intercoms next to the bathroom for when I need services while going potty? The television inside the shower is only a 40-inch, and there is no gold in this room. I need a better suite. I'm gonna need you to go out, buy me better bedding, remake my bed, and then do it again tomorrow because I won't sleep on the same bedding twice. And that's just the tip of the icebergs. Story 3. Middle Eastern royalty books an entire floor for a month. Staff spends weeks preparing for every detail of the visit. Entire floor rearranged to accommodate children, nannies, private dining quarters for men and women, etc. Private chef is brought in. They left after 1 week on private 747 because it was too cold in Chicago in November. Story 4. I spent 10 years in the boutique and 5-star hotel world. Got stories for days. But here is my favorite that sums up hospitality, former anyways. Our concierge was Les Clefstor, had all the connections. This dude could get you into the French Laundry same day. He would often greet guests with sangria and sprigs of mint from his garden. Sometimes he had lemon slices from his tree too. He loved to tell guests all about his garden, and they ate it up. Yeah, that's all bullshit. Mint, lemon, and any other garnish we got from the local grocery store. The sangria? Cheapest box stuff we could find. But he sold the story like no other. At the end of the day, it worked. Story 5. Honestly, same. I would often send people to smaller mom and pop vineyards, but it had to be sold as this boutique experience. If you told someone, so there's this little farm down the road that sells some great wine. You literally just drive up and meet the farmer/owners since they don't do reservations. They wouldn't go. But if you said, I personally know the so-and-sos, they have this micro vineyard tucked away from the main road where they make some of the best Pinot in so-and-so valley, I highly recommend it. They are so small, they don't even take reservations. Otherwise they would book up, and I'd never be able to get you in. The guests would coo and bolt for it. Story 6. I'm convinced most people don't know the difference between good and shitty liquor. I did wine sampling at stores, and people would enjoy a wine until you told them it was $6. Or the opposite, it was gross until they found out it was $30. Story 7. Corporate intern events where the kids would get plied with alcohol. Infuriating. We had one company annually bring 80 interns as part of a site visit tour, and it was a nightmare. I was sure someone would die every year. One year there were 3 hospitalizations though, and one of the boys sent the hospital bill to the hotel. To be clear, the entire F&B team knew about the event and were very vigilant about refusing service. We were not involved or liable in his medical issue, particularly because he and all of his intern colleagues trashed everything. We had to prepare the lobby by removing sculptures and porcelain plant pots. One year we started always removing a kind of sharp-cornered bookcase because too many drunk interns had hurt themselves on it. There were bodily fluids everywhere and linens destroyed beyond continued use. Plumbing broke daily. There was always smoking damage in some rooms. But all the adults were useless, of course. And all adults were culpable in providing alcohol to the underage people. The company accepted the bill for the damage every year, and always came back. And we would add literally everything we could. We would tack weeks' worth of room nights onto their bill, because we had to keep dozens of rooms out of service while damage was repaired. The company paid for everything we comped for complaining guests too. They also paid for anything we had to replace, and they were so used to the damage fees we would just throw things in there sometimes. Like a treadmill finally broke during their residence. But did one of their guests break it? Don't know, didn't care, they bought us a new treadmill. We were one of 3 hotels on this annual tour. Story 8. OMG, another internship story. Different company would send us groups of students and trainees a few times a year. If their founder was in town, he would always try to get keys to one of the girls' rooms. He tried every time. We would have to staff additional night audit to be stationed on the group floor all night, because the GM was afraid somebody would eventually be worn down or scared into complying. Or worse, totally okay with it, and not seeing the problem at all. Don't go on trips for your internships, my guys. Story 9. This is scary shit. I once attended a youth conference, which involved staying at a hotel for a week, and the organizers were so stringent about this that they had special security placed on the girls' floors right in front of the elevator doors and stairs so that no guy could sneak there. Story 10. I have worked at 2 hotels that are rated by Forbes. There is a very specific checklist of things the hotel/restaurants must do/offer in order to keep their rating. We always had to be suspicious of any single diners because they could possibly be inspectors. So you could be a regular Joe Schmo, but if you are dining alone you are going to get the 5-star treatment. Once we had a particular woman staying at the hotel, and somehow management figured out and confirmed she was an inspector. They literally took security cam stills and printed them out to give to all employees, so we would know who she was. I still remember her name was Katrina. Something else interesting, one of the 5-star restaurants I worked at, in a 5-star hotel, would frequently be closed for private events. There was usually a contract written beforehand stating the group must spend a minimum amount of money. We got automatic gratuity on whatever that minimum was, but the goal was to go over so we would make more money. The people at the events usually didn't know these details, they weren't the ones paying, and towards the end of the night, if they hadn't reached the minimum, we would have to start pouring the most expensive wine and liquors to meet the goal. Who wants a few rounds of Macallan 25 doubles, etc.? And people still tipped cash on the open bars, so it was easy to walk away with $500 a night in tips after those parties. It was the easiest money I ever made.